What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the JT Sports Podcast. I'm your host, JT, joined by my longtime buddy, Luke G's Field Review. What up, though, Luke G? What's going on?
First of all, appreciate the what up though. That's a Detroit thing if you don't know it. Second of all, congratulations on the upcoming graduation, and the growth, and the resilience to keep pushing to get better at something that you want to make a business. I applaud you on your ability to create your own platform and become your own boss and be your own decision maker. We need more young entrepreneurs, and so to you, sir, I take my hat off and say kudos. But hey, I'm here, man. Let's talk some ball.
Yeah, man, let's talk some ball. And there's a lot of things to talk about. The NFL draft concluded a few days ago. And I mean, let's talk about, let's get the cat out of the bag. The Detroit Lions, how do you feel about their draft class? Are you impressed with it, or are you still not really all that thrilled about what they did?
I have I got to a point about a couple years ago where I just said enough of this. I'm not about to, do all these super grades. I'm not about the overhyped players because you're hoping that what they did in college translate into the pros, but we don't know what's going to happen. And so my attitude to it is I focus on, did they address positions that needed to be addressed? And the answer is yes. Did we need corners? Yes. Did we need a D lineman? Yes. Did we need offensive line help? Yes. Did they address those? Yes. Did they go out and get a linebacker in the undrafted area? Yes. And was that a need too? Sure was. So when I can look at all of these things that they have addressed, I don't get upset at the draft. Now, if they had went out and did a bunch of stuff that didn't address areas that I think needed to have improvement, I'll be upset. But as far as that, I'm not upset because, like I said, these players are going to be what they are. Now, I plan on breaking it down in a little bit more detail for each pick. But yeah, I got some concerns when it comes to the Lions fans base, and how they view these picks. I don't. I got some concerns. I definitely got some concerns.
What's your big concerns, Luke G? Let the people know. Like, what you
I mean,
skeptical about?
listen, it's this the thing. I it's a draft, and every I have yet to see a Lions fan that had concerns. They love every pick. Every pick. I have concerns. I don't know if we needed to trade a third round pick in this year's draft to move up to get Arnold. He was only 5 spots away, and I'm just being honest when I say this. Is there such a significant drop off between Arnold and Wiggins? If the answer is yes, okay, cool. But you know, I don't hear these words. I don't hear the word shutdown corner when they talk about Arnold, right? And you trade it up for him. All right, cool. It is what it is. People want to say after third round pick, but then you trade a 2025 third round pick to take a offensive tackle from British Columbia University. He's the first player in British Columbia University football history to ever get drafted to the NFL, and the Lions did it. And Lions fans are like, oh, he's 6'8", 250. He ran a 4.92. Like, when did you ever gonna need a 6'8", 350 something pound man to run 40 yards? Like, I'm not like when? When is that gonna be a case? Like, how? But you know what? Everybody and their mother's hyping up. Oh, he was eating over there. He was mauling them people. You know what's even worse? Nobody knew who the hell those people were. Nobody seen who those people. You couldn't even tell me who he mauled. He mauled me, you, and the janitor. You know what I mean? Like, we up here doing too much, in my opinion. I'm just like, hey, y'all killing me. Like, we traded up for a guy who is a total project, and you are handing out A grades because he's big. So what? Andre the Giant was big. At least he can choke slam you. So I mean, like, come on. Then I didn't have a problem with them taking the running back slash safety.
Siani
Senior,
Vaki?
how you put senior Siani Vaki? Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that because I understood what his role was. And I also understood that Brad Holmes was drafting people with a purpose. So I understood what his role was, because when we would call certain fakes with Jalen Reeves-Maybin, he just went straight. Vaki he'll be able to do that and cut it out, and you get a little bit of versatility. So if somebody go down, he can play multiple positions. That's great, right? But Macau Wingo, I'm trying to figure out what I missed. Man, it's hard to get to number 18 at LSU. I do not care. I don't care who, he wasn't even the best lineman
anyway. Defensive
I mean,
lineman
I'm just being because 18 means something at LSU, and I get it.
Okay,
I do, but he wasn't even a best D lineman. Let's get that out of the way. And secondly, like, everybody's so in love with this guy. Oh, I'm telling you. But Brad Holmes said you got to look at his 2022 tape. All right, well, I saw 2023. I was unimpressed. I'll go back and look at 2022. But I saw what I saw in 2023, and I walked away like, oh, okay. Well, whatever. So I had concerns. Even with our first pick, there's some concerns. But overall, did we need the position? Sure. Sure we did. But it's the fan base. Like, how are you just so hyped? Every pick you love, every pick? Every pick.
I think what really has Detroit Lions fans the most excited is that with your first two picks this year, you address your biggest area of concern, which was cornerback. You get Terrion Arnold at 24, and you get Ennis Rickershaw in the second round, 61st. And those are both two guys who should be able to start right away. And I don't even know what the hell happened to Cam Sutton. He was getting destroyed on the field, and he was destroying his life off the field. So it's like, I feel like these are two picks that are the main catalyst for why so many people are excited about the draft class that the Lions bring in. Because, most people...
They was excited about Jeff Okudah, though. They was excited about Cam Newton, though. I mean, Cam Sutton, though, right? Like, they was excited about these players, right? And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just telling you the facts. They were excited about these people.
It's optimism season. It's optimism
season.
And
I was the only one.
The Super Bowl.
I dropped a video titled "Jeff Okudah's not worth a top 10 pick." That video had almost a 1,000 thumbs down to like 200 thumbs up, and then all of a sudden, when his career was to the pooper, then my likes shot up ahead of it. Because you know why? Because people started to realize, oh, he called it. Just like when Cam Sutton came, I said, listen, my whole entire family are Steelers fans. I hear about the Steelers so much that it drives me nuts. I know you a Steelers fan, and so I get what's going on with it. But one thing I learned about the Steelers is they don't let you go in your prime. They let you go past it. I mean, seriously. And so when we got Cam Sutton, he was the best cornerback in the draft, and I'm like, he a slot corner who can't cover deep ball. That's not true. Well, games started getting down to the nitty gritty, and sure enough, they start going deep.
Yep. And it's crazy because he never played that bad in Pittsburgh, bro. I thought he would have been a lot better than what he was last year, bro. He left Pittsburgh and just went completely in the gutter.
You know why? Because Pittsburgh front seven was able to be disruptive to other people, and the Lions didn't have that. In fact, I don't even know if I would argue that cornerback was our biggest need, but I'm okay that it was a need. And to me, we needed a running mate with Aiden Hutchinson, because you need somebody that they got to account for. When you look at some of the best defenses, they have running mates. For every Dwight Freeney, there was a Robert Mathis, right? For every T.J. Watt, there's Alex Highsmith. When y'all had Lamar Woodley, he had a running mate. Cameron Hayward had a running mate, right? You just keep going down the list of people who had a running mate, right? And, if the argument is that Aiden Hutchinson doesn't have a running mate, okay, cool. Now, were there any DNs up there that you could have got? Probably, depending on how you feel about it. I think they personally like to Chop Robinson. I could be wrong, but I think they liked them. Now, they settled for the corners. I'm cool. But when they got to the later rounds and you're taking a project player and Austin Booker still on the board who goes to the Bears, I'm trying to figure out, all right, nobody concerned about this? I'm concerned. So am I overly negative on the draft? No. It addresses my areas of needs, right? And you got talent. But I'm not finna sit here and act like oh, this person hit. Like, even the guy we took last, Christian Mahogany. Everybody, look, he's a mauler. I said, look, if you watch the highlights, he mauled everybody. But when you watch snap by snap, he whiffed on a lot of tackles. Like, I mean, on a lot of blocks. Like he was not optimizing his time on a lot of those blocks. And you know, I know some people ain't gonna like that sentiment, but that's the reality. So again, am I happy with what we did? Yes. But it's even harder when you think you're trading future draft picks away for people who are projects, and you went out and traded a third for Carlton Davis, who's basically a faster Cam Sutton. You added a Meek Robertson. Great. You're already making it known that you're going to be swinging branch from safety to nickel corner. All right, cool. But guess what? At the end of the day, he still got some areas that I'm just like, And again, I know that we added the sack leader from the CFL this offseason, so maybe they hoping that he ends up being a quality pick. But Marcus Davenport, he ain't it. He ain't moving no needle.
Yeah.
Right? So he can't be the running mate.
That's a dude that was a first round pick by the Saints a few years back, right?
Yep.
Oh, y'all signed
first round pick by the Saints. Yeah, after he just got done playing with the Vikings and being hurt. And I had people trying to tell me it's no big deal because, you know, he didn't have nobody running. I'm like, so Danielle Hunter's just nobody. I got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, I mean, you know, you got to look at it in perspective, in my opinion. Like I said, the draft gives optimism. It gives hope. It gives opportunity. And these are all things you ain't going to never hear me complain about.
Man, the optimism is at an all-time high for the Chicago Bears, man. They got their savior, Luke G. They got the dude who's about to change this franchise forever and give them something that they've never gotten, and that is elite competent quarterback play, Luke G. I don't know how you feel about Caleb Williams, but to me, even though he hasn't played a single snap in the NFL yet, he's already a top 10 quarterback to me. Give me Caleb Williams over Dak Prescott, Tua turning the ball over. I love me some Caleb Williams. Now, you know, he is a little bit, you know, he does have the tendency to turn off a little bit of the older generation. I forgot what they call the 90s babies. I think they're called like boomers or whatever. But if we're just talking about him as a football player, there definitely is a lot to like about his game. There's definitely some things that he has to improve on. But with the supporting cast that Chicago has around this brother this season, Luke G, I just find it damn near impossible for him not to have the greatest rookie season that we've ever seen out of a rookie quarterback. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Chicago Bears end up competing with the Detroit Lions for the NFC North if this brother is as good as what we've been hyping him up to be for the last year and a half. I need to see this man come in there and give me CJ Stroud level production or better. No excuses. You can't say, oh, he don't got a good team. The dude is lit at wide receiver. He has a decent offensive line, and the defense was a top 10 unit last year, and it could be even better this season. So, I mean, as a Lions fan, how are you viewing the Chicago Bears now that they have Mr. Caleb Williams in town, their first franchise quarterback in their existence? Are you taking them serious, or do you think this is just all a hype machine and they ain't going to even make it to the playoffs?
I think Caleb Williams is the best prospect I've seen since like Andrew Luck. And I love everything about him, the accuracy on the run. Like some of the throws that he make, I'm just like, how?
Yeah.
Right? I still trying to wrap my head around it. However, I will tell you this much. When I hear people sit there and say that our biggest threat is Green Bay, and that the bottom feeder is going to be the Minnesota Vikings, I'm telling them, no, the division's just a tough division. And the Bears definitely concern me because I believe that Caleb Williams is one of them guys where, and let me just say this before I go further, but Caleb Williams to me is one of them guys that can be a difference maker, but I don't think Justin Fields was a problem as bad as fans and other people made him out to be. Where Justin Fields' issue came in at was, which again for the numbers he didn't do too bad for the numbers, but it's the turnovers. He had some untimely turnovers. In fact, one of the wins the Lions got, it was a sack strip fumble, and it's like, why are you holding the ball? You've been running it the whole time.
You remember that Broncos game? That was his best game of his career. Balled out last couple of minutes, just completely implodes. Yep. You got a fumble, a pick six. Yeah, worst fourth quarter quarterback in the NFL. That's why they said before at the combine when they asked Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus what they were looking for their next quarterback, they said somebody who can win in the fourth quarter. Justin Fields has been the NFL's worst fourth quarter quarterback since he first was named the starter back in 2021.
Yeah, and again, I just look at it like this. If I'm a team that is trying to make my mark in the division, what do I got to do to get at people? And they did it. They added Keenan Allen. They already had DJ Moore. They added Rome Odunze, right? They already got Everett and Komet. They added DeAndre Swift. They added some offensive linemen. They added some defensive help, too. But everybody's looking at this offense and saying that this offense should put up points. And this is where I have to go look at the rest of the division and say, what did y'all do to combat everybody else, right? And the Lions got beat down one game against the Bears with Justin Fields. And they didn't have Keenan Allen. They didn't have all these people that they added now. They top running back was Herbert, right? Like nobody was just, DeAndre Swift is a different breed. I was mad when we let him walk. I was like, look, keep DeAndre Swift, bring in Montgomery, right? And I don't care if you want to draft a running back. But cool. I was mad that we let that man go, right? So I think that they are definitely looking good, and it's not just a paper thing. They got to still do it, obviously, but I don't expect for him not to play well. I don't think he got to give us the world's greatest rookie season because I've seen some great rookie seasons from people like Robert Griffin III, only to falter down after that. Like I've seen rookies have good rookie seasons when when everything around them is going well, but it's about when everything ain't going well. I one of the things about comedians when a comedian goes on that stage and everybody's not feeling the jokes and they not laughing, they booing you, how you respond is what makes you a great comedian. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I look at the same thing with these players. How you respond to when everything is not going right is how I can judge you as a player. And the Bears, to me, did a very good job of basically telling the division that, what you thought it was is not going to be this way no more. Mm-hmm. And that's good. But I also think that the Packers did well, and I think the Vikings did well. I still think the Lions win in the division.
So if there was a team in the division that you had to pick to win it outside of Detroit, who would it be at this moment?
The Packers.
Why?
Because I think adding Jacobs is a huge boost in the running back room. I really think Aaron Jones was slightly better than Jacobs. People ain't gonna like that statement, but I think Aaron Jones is slightly better than Jacobs. And but having Jacobs in that room is huge. You brought back Dillon. You added some receiver help. You added defensive help. You got better safety play. Your linebacker room is stupid. We can say what we want about Quay Walker. Quay Walker always finds a way to give us a bone, right? But when they added Adrian Cooper, I went, really? This is what we doing now? This how we playing it? So, the Packers played us tough the first game. Even though we beat the brakes off them in one game and lost real bad against the second.
The Packers almost made it to the damn NFC Championship. Like, people here's my thing, bro. I think the Packers going to make it to the damn NFC Championship this year. Now, I don't know who they going to play. It's either going to be the Packers and the Lions or the Packers and the Rams or the Packers and whoever else. But all I know is you go 28-3 the last 2 months of the season and you do what Jordan Love just did in the wild card round. Like, this ain't no Daniel Jones saga when he just had a one-off performance against one of the most luckiest teams in NFL history. Like, we saw this dude going to work, Luke G. That dude was going to work on San Francisco's defense. And if it wasn't for him, making the young quarterback mistake that he did the final possession. Like, I was wondering because he was getting away with a lot of those throws outside the pocket, throwing across the opposite half of the field from the opposite side of his body. I was wondering when it was going to come to bite him in the butt and happen in the worst opportune time. But with how young that team is, and then they get Jeff Hafley as their new DC, if he ends up working out, I don't see how they don't win the division because defensively, from a talent standpoint, I've always viewed Green Bay in high regard. Like, Rashawn Gary may be he has to be one of the most underrated defensive players in the league for over the last 6 years. I've never seen a player look so good when he's healthy and yet not get mentioned enough in the defensive player of the year conversation. So there's a lot of talent on Green Bay. It's just, is Jeff Hafley going to be the guy who can make it all work? We saw how Joe Barry, how awful his defense was. It's no more excuses. If this defense shows up and the offense picks up from what they left off, and even better, shoot, I don't see how we don't get a Green Bay Detroit Lions NFC championship. Now, Minnesota, like, I don't know why people are trying to overhype Minnesota when their quarterback situation is less than ideal. Like, I don't care how good of a coach Kevin O'Connell is. This division is way too tough for you to be winning games with Sam freaking Darnold. You free me? Like, this division.
I don't think Sam Darnold's starting. I think everybody who believes. I think JJ is starting, and I think that everybody. I think, like I said, I thought the Vikings really wanted Penix, but I think JJ is starting. And the thing that they did was they added Aaron Jones. See, last year they struggled because there was no run game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Madison ain't it. Madison is 100% a relief guy. When they drafted him, I was like, right. But now you got Aaron Jones. If Aaron Jones can stay healthy, which he won't, he's going to be hurt for a number of games, right? It's just inevitable, right? Like, it just is what it is. But if they can establish the run, they'll be in the mix too. I don't think the Packers win the division. I don't think the Packers do as well as people think because I think that their schedule is going to test them earlier. We got to see when the schedule drops, obviously next month. Well, in May, we should say, because we're not too far from May. But we got to see when that schedule drop and when and who play. When I looked at the Lions schedule, my original schedule, without knowing when they play, I had them at 8 wins, right? Even looking at their schedule right now, I got 8 wins. But when I see when they play, the number's going to go up or down. So when I saw we had Kansas City week 1, I was like, oh, yeah, they go ninth win, right? I thought it'd been at wins. I could see when we was going to play. And so it's going to come down to scheduling. Our schedule down the end was easy. Their schedule was a little bit more tougher. But the Lions is geared up to do some things a little bit different. And, Sam Laporta in the second year is going to be obviously a person that they're going to keep an eye on, but you can't watch everybody. Mm-hmm. You can't watch Sam Laporta. You can't watch Jamison, who I told people, look, y'all fall in love with the speed, but you don't take hurt receivers. You'll be okay, but okay. The Lions should still win this division if they are who I think they are, and I think they will win the division.
I definitely agree. And speaking of the Detroit Lions winning this division, there was a point, Luke G, when you guys weren't even competing for a division. Aaron Rodgers was running you boys through the mud, and you guys just had to settle with making it to the wild card round. And before Dan Campbell arrived in Detroit, there were so many coaches like Jim Schwartz and Jim Caldwell who had a little bit of success, but they were never able to sustain it. And then you have fatty Matt Patricia, who tries to implement the Patriots way in Detroit, and he fails miserably at it. And you just have such a run of failed coaches. Then all of a sudden, you get Dan Campbell, which wasn't really the original guy the Detroit Lions had listed as their number one. Originally, it was reported that they wanted to interview Matt Campbell, the dude at Iowa State, who was their head coach. But then Dan Campbell all of a sudden gets this head coaching job, and then with a span of a couple of years, he transforms the Detroit Lions from the biggest laughingstock in the NFL to a legit Super Bowl contender. Luke G, how has Dan Campbell pulled off this miracle work? How has he been able to do what previous Detroit Lions head coaches have been unable to do, and that's turn Detroit into a legitimate winner and legitimate contender, and somebody that when you see the Detroit Lions on your schedule, they're not an easy win anymore. They're going to be a tough out. No matter win or loss, you ain't walking out of Detroit with the easy game.
I think what you're saying is an old adage that says, in order for you to know who you are and where you're going, you got to know where you come from. And as a guy who was on the 0-16 team, he understood where he came from. He understood and saw firsthand what should not happen as a coach. But there's a bigger picture that happens here, because when William Clay Ford passed away, was the Lions owner, he passed the team on to his wife. And his wife loves football. She loves, the team and the company. But at the end of the day, this ain't nothing she wanted to run. So she can care less about most of that stuff. But when she passed it on to her daughter, a woman who knew how to text, she knew how to send emails, she knew how to swipe the card, she was doing Apple Pay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was huge. And what she did was she realized that, okay, I don't know everything, but I want to learn everything. And so I'm going to get people who do know things. So she goes out, she get Chris Spielman. And Chris Spielman creates a board with Barry Sanders and a bunch of other NFL legends. She gets Rod Woods just hanging there with the money part of it. And he succeeds in his role. And then they go out and they hire Dan Campbell. And Dan Campbell comes in, he remembers his time here in Detroit. He remembers his attitude about Detroit. He remembers the city's attitude, and he embraced it. He damn near bodied it. If you had to look at resurrecting the attitude of Detroit, he did just that, because he came in with a mentality that was going to be known to the players, and that everybody had to get on board or get out the way. And then they go out and get Brad Holmes, and Brad Holmes did it. And so they quickly realized that I need everybody to do their damn job. And Dan Campbell made it clear. You don't do your job, I move on from you. This is the reason why R.B. Pleasant was moved on from. It's a reason why Anthony Lynn was moved on from. He like, hey, I'm not mad at what you did. I'm not blaming you, but I can get better production. I need more. And it's one of my favorite commercials with Kobe Bryant and Kanye West is when he was like, I sold 1 million records. He like, I want more records. He was like, but I'm the highest paid rapper of all time. I need more rapping skills. Like, he wanted more. He like, but I'm the best. He like, but yes, but are you the same animal in a different beast? And he was like, what the heck? What are you talking about, Kobe Bryant? He like, you welcome. Because at that point, he wanted to be known. You can't just be happy with being the best. You got to have a mentality. So when our team did up downs, guess who did it with them? Dan Campbell. Mm-hmm. When they ran suicides, guess who ran it with them? Dan Campbell. Mm-hmm. When they in the weight room, guess who in there lifting with them? Dan Campbell.
Meathead Dan. He loved to lift.
Right? When you sitting there talking about accountability, guess who the first to put his hand up? This is my fault. Dan Campbell.
Mm-hmm. I remember the first season when things were going left and you guys were giving away games that you guys should have won. He was always accepting responsibility, to the point, the dude was breaking down at the podium, and it's like, eventually you got to a point, it's like, man, it's like, this is a grown man breaking down. You getting paid millions of dollars to coach football. Like, it's like, why am I feeling sorry for you? But it's like,
but it wasn't about the money though. And see, that's the thing that people don't realize. He would do it for free. It wasn't about the money. It was about, he understood that he wanted that win. Mm-hmm. And he felt that he did a lot of things right, but it was the few things that he did wrong that made him a better person for the next game. And again, nobody in the league was doing it like going on fourth down until Detroit started going like that. Everybody else was like, oh, we a punt. Detroit was like, you punt if you want to. Mm-hmm. You give me the ball back. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking all 4 downs. I'm going for it.
We going for it like we playing Madden. 4th and 5 and up, we going for it.
4th and 5, that's right. I'm going for it.
I don't care what
and that's the thing. When you got a guy who got that mentality that tells his players, I'm not going for this because I ain't got no kicker. That's not what the problem is. He going for it because he's telling his players, I trust that you can do it. I know that you're going to do it, and I expect you to execute it. Get it done. Mm-hmm. And when they don't, he go, all right, that's my fault. Could I have put you in a better situation? He always takes the ownership of it. So when you see him succeeding where the other people failed at, you got Jim Schwartz who had success. Like you said, he put the defense, but he didn't know how to hire the right people to get the offense fired up, right? You look at Jim Caldwell, he only beat losing teams. And everybody he hired were friends. And he kept playing a very predictable, simplified. I ain't even gonna say simplified. I'm gonna just say he played what he thought was complex, but everybody saw what was coming a mile away. I just sit up there with my friends, and we used to play games. Now I don't drink, but they do, and we used to play drinking games. So if I got my predictions right, when calling the play, like run left, run right, run up the middle, this is a pass short to the right, and so if I got that right, they drink and I get $1. And by the time the game was over, I came into the game with $1. I walked out with about 75 because I can call the plays out that good. So where you look at Dan Campbell, you don't know what we gonna do. We did a double flea flicker one time. We have the reverse on top of reverse. You don't know what we gonna do. But what you do know is when you came to this building, or we came to your house, we gonna give you everything we got. And now there were some games where we didn't give everything we got, for whatever the reason may be. But you know one thing the Lions didn't do? Lose back-to-back games.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I remember after y'all beat the Rams in the wild card round, the locker room, everybody huddle up. Dan Campbell comes up, says, "You're good enough for Detroit, Jared." After he was casted aside, you remember he gets traded for Matthew Stafford. Lions fans were saying Matthew Stafford held the franchise back. First year, takes the LA Rams, wins the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Jared Goff, his first season wasn't bad. I thought it was pretty decent, but it wasn't as good as what you expect when you just see your former QB end up winning the Super Bowl. But then, you know, the second half of year 2 in Detroit, the dude goes scorched earth, and ever since then, he's played at a top 10 level pretty much, in my opinion. And just the fact that Dan Campbell looked at Jared Goff and viewed him as an asset more as just somebody who was just a bridge stopgap quarterback until Detroit's able to find somebody better. Dan Campbell is like, no, like, they don't want you, but we do. You want to know why? Because you're good enough to start for us. They didn't just trade for Jared Goff just to get the pick. You feel me? They traded for him because they felt this dude could actually play. And it looked like a pretty good trade, and it looks like a win-win for both situations. You got a quarterback that can help you continue to win big games, and the LA Rams got a Super Bowl out of Matthew Stafford.
You know what I did one day? I was curious, right? I wanted to see what was going to happen. And you should do the same thing. I want you to go back. I want you to look at all the winning quarterbacks in the Super Bowl and all the losing quarterbacks from the Super Bowl. And you know what I found out? That there was only a few Hall of Fame quarterbacks who won the Super Bowl, but a whole lot of average game managing quarterbacks who won the Super Bowl. From the 2000 Ravens with Trent Dilfer, went to Eli Manning on the Giants, but he a Hall of Famer now because what he did, he shouldn't have been able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Warner, what he did, he shouldn't have been able to do. He managed the game, and he got a few franchises to the Super Bowl that had never been. You go all the way down to 2004 Buccaneers, Brad Johnson. You don't even hear them talk about him no more, right? You look at the quarterback that y'all have had. Like most Steelers fans know who Cordell Stewart is.
Mm-hmm. Slash
Stewart. But everybody remembers the guy who won it, right?
Big Ben.
And Big Ben. But Big Ben was a little bit different than the average quarterback because Big Ben would do absolutely everything to get that ball off and stuff. But when you go through and you look at the quarterbacks and you see it, you realize you don't need the best quarterback to win the Super Bowl. You don't. You need a comparable quarterback to win the Super Bowl, including the Eagles' first Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You know who the quarterback was when the Eagles won the Super Bowl?
Nick Foles.
What is he doing right now? I'll wait.
Hey, that boy, where me and you at right now? At home.
Right? Right? So Jared Goff just needed to be a game manager. And what they did was they said, we're going to take away all your excuses not to fail. And they gave him a lot of things to succeed. It was one of the reasons why I was so critical of Brad Holmes, because I felt that his investments were directly related to building up Jared Goff. And that's cool. But I want more defensive help. And so the Lions has shown a great deal of success, and it has been simply because Dan Campbell understood the mentality of the city. He understood what a winner should look like and should not look like, and he was willing to do the one thing that his mentor taught him: go outside the box. And it ain't just him. Look at Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes go outside. He don't even draft. Everybody named Mama. I every year I do a draft versus draft battle show where I let subscribers come on and we do a draft simulator and let the fans pick who won the draft. And that 1 year I just kept taking Jahmyr Gibbs. Last year, I mean not Jahmyr. I kept taking a running back. I kept taking B. John Robinson, and everybody was like, "Why are you taking a running back?" I said, "Well, y'all don't want Jalen Carter because of all the off-field stuff, so I'm going to go with a running back that gives me the most impact immediately." And I lost every draft battle against a subscriber because I picked a running back. And then the Lions general manager said, "After your positional value, I'm a positional villain."
Taking that damn running
And he
back.
took the damn running back, right?
Yeah.
And everybody went crazy. You took a running back 12. That's terrible value.
But they understand
then he goes off.
He ain't no traditional running back though. He's a weapon.
But it's not even a matter if he's a weapon or not. It's a matter of what everybody thought that you took a guy that has no value. Now when he succeeds, nobody talks about he was what a bad pick. And so that's why you see now where there's a guy who went off schedule. Dan Campbell go off schedule. Brad Holmes go off schedule. Ben Johnson go off schedule. Everybody thought Ben Johnson would have been a head coach by now. He keep telling people, "No, I'm good. I'm gonna finish what I started here."
Mm-hmm. I ain't ready yet.
You see what I'm saying?
Good. Yeah.
So you got guys who are not following the norms. You ever seen ants? Like you ever been outside to see a bunch of ants?
Yeah.
And if they find a piece of food, you see a line of ants following the food, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Detroit Lions coaching staff, from top to bottom, has been off schedule. When they were not keeping our players healthy, he got rid of their whole room. When they wasn't handling the certain little intricacies of the game plan right, they were let go. And when everybody else was standing in the perfect line, like the rest of the little ants, they were over there exploring other areas. Like, yo, while y'all eat that moon pie over there, I'm gonna come over here and see what's over here. It might be some fruit over here. They were willing to go away from the pack and stand on their own, and that's why you see the success in Detroit.
Everyone, this is our guy, Luke G's Field Review. He talks everything Detroit Lions. Make sure you go ahead, subscribe to his channel. He goes live pretty frequently. He uploads great content. We will have the link to Luke G's Field Review in the pinned comment and description down below. Luke G, do you have time for 2 more questions?
Yeah, I'm good. I got time for it.
After what we just saw transpire in this past year's Super Bowl between Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy, I feel like this past year's Super Bowl showed us why you got to have a Patrick Mahomes-esque talent at quarterback if you want to be able to try to take this dude down. The difference in that Super Bowl to me wasn't that Brock Purdy was overrated. It just was that he was a really good QB. Patrick Mahomes was just an even better QB. He was an all-time great QB. Brock Purdy put his team in position to get a field goal, to take a 3-point lead. Mahomes put his team in position to come away with the Lombardi trophy. That's the difference between the 49ers and the Chiefs, I felt, was that one team had a Hall of Fame quarterback, a future all-time great, and the other team had a really good QB. And in today's NFL now, since the emergence of Patrick Mahomes and guys like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, it seems like more teams now are giving these quarterbacks less time to develop because they're trying to find that next superstar who can help elevate that franchise. Yes, a quarterback does need to have a good situation to succeed, but when you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes who's winning Super Bowls with guys like Rashee Rice, a rookie wideout, being his best wide receiver, and Travis Kelce, who people thought was slowing down, you look at guys like Dak Prescott, Tua Tagovailoa, who have all this talent, more weapons than Mahomes, and you ask them, why can't you get it done? And because of Mahomes being able to do this, I feel this is creating a oversaturated quarterback market. Now, quarterbacks that used to be viewed upon as good like 10 years ago, for example, Alex Smith. 10 years ago, Alex Smith was the prototypical solid starting quarterback that you look for in the NFL. In 2023, though, they shit on the Alex Smith, though, because you look at what Mahomes is doing, and what Mahomes is able to do is elevate his team. Meanwhile, Alex Smith just manages the game. So with that, Luke G, I really feel that Patrick Mahomes has really did a disservice to the majority of the quarterbacks out there, because a lot of these guys don't have a long time to develop. You only got 2-3 years, and plus, I think the expectations are a little bit more unrealistic, because now these quarterbacks are getting compared to Patrick Mahomes, because if you can't go toe-to-toe with him, a lot of these teams believe that you don't have a quarterback. That's how I believe it. That's how I see it. If I'm the Dolphins, I'm not paying Tua. That dude can't beat Patrick Mahomes. He can't go toe-to-toe with this dude. So why would I invest $50 million in a QB that gives me half of what Mahomes can do? If I'm going to pay top dollar money and have to give out 30% of my salary cap to a guy, I'm going after a guy that's in the same weight class as a guy like Mahomes. So do you think this is the direction that the NFL is starting to go?
No, in fact, I think it's a little bit the opposite, because it's not a matter of what Patrick Mahomes is doing. See, everybody talk to Patrick Mahomes talk. I get it. It sounds good. It's sexy. You know what I'm saying? He got the Beijing look going on right now. Everything is there. I see it, right? But everybody forget that he got a Hall of Fame head coach. But they forget this. They forget that team has kept talent on there. They forget this. They forget that Patrick Mahomes has had some bad games in the Super Bowl too. They just remember the last minute heroics. But the reality is a lot of teams are getting to the point where they're saying, if I'm expected to pay you 50, 30, 40, and 60 million a year, yeah, I expect more. Because guess what? At this point, as y'all price go up, with that price tag going up, I expect more. And so I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but let me just break it down to you. This is what happens when you get a quarterback on a rookie deal and he don't perform well. You got to make a decision. Do you want to pay him? And that's what the Bears said. The Bears said, I don't want to pay Justin Fields. I don't see a guy that I can pay 50, 45 million to 50 million and feel good. Is Justin Fields better than Daniel Jones? Yeah. But do I want to now pay him 48 because he's better than Daniel Jones? Like, no. Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones that's his comparison? Right? And so now that's a different thing. Even with Dak Prescott, who got paid, the question now becomes, do I want to pay him further? Because without, he's not getting it done. But they didn't get him a Hall of Fame head coach. You see what I'm saying? They had an opportunity for these head coaches. They could have had Sean Payton. Mm-hmm. But guess what? Jerry Jones won't get out of his way. And so when I look at the NFL, they're just simply willing to do what many people thought I was crazy for saying years ago, and that's go outside the box. Remember, at the one game, I wanted Matt Patricia fired and told everybody at the 1 year, you got to get rid of him. And everybody told me it takes 3 years. And we have seen multiple coaches be fired at the one season. Why? Because it don't take that damn long. If you are who you say you are, I should see significant improvement. And when I don't see that, there's a problem. And that's what they're doing to quarterbacks. They're opting to not keep people to pay them when they're like, look, I could let somebody else pay you. I'm not doing it. I would rather lose and get a new quarterback than to sit here and pay you, because you're not getting it done. So for me, no, I don't think it's a Patrick Mahomes thing, because Patrick Mahomes came into a perfect situation. If Patrick Mahomes was drafted that year first overall, he would not be Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick Mahomes going to a Hall of Fame head coach, yep. The same thing with Donovan McNabb. Everybody thought Donovan McNabb was going to be a washout. He had Andy Reid. Andy Reid. People talk about Patrick Mahomes, but again, people forget that Andy Reid went to the Super Bowl with Donovan McNabb. Mm-hmm. And McNabb had a rough day. Mm-hmm. But he went there. People forget that. People forget the Eagles' first Super Bowl was won by Nick Foles. because the coaching is in such a way. And so Brock Purdy was not supposed to be where he was at, but Brock Purdy has a good coach who understands his strengths and his weakness. And I heard Mike Tomlin say something one time that I love. He said he hate when he hear coaches be like, "Oh, you can't coach that guy," or "This guy." He said, "But what you're really saying is you can't coach that guy. You're the one who don't have the ability to coach that guy and get everything out of him, and that's what you're hired to do." See, when you think about certain things, right? You can your name JT, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a job description. Coaching is a job description on every level. You're the coach. Your whole objective is to motivate, figure it out, and get them in position. And so I think what you're starting to see with the quarterback room is a group of people who have just made a simple decision and saying, as the price of quarterbacks go up, I'm not willing to play around with you. Either you can make it happen or you can't, and I'm moving on. Which is why the Michael Penix to the Falcons thing makes more sense now, because I'm already paying the guy for a 2-year rental. But guess what? When those 2 years up and he 30 something, yeah, I think I'd rather go with the young guy who can run.
Jerry Jones lied to Dallas Cowboy fans, Luke G. Before this offseason started, he told Cowboy fans that we were going to be all in this year. And what were their moves to be all in? They signed, a player on defense who you're pretty familiar with, and Eric Kendricks, and that was about it. And the reason why they couldn't be as all in as what Jerry Jones claimed is because they didn't have enough money because they got to pay Dak Prescott. He has an extension coming up. You got to give CeeDee Lamb, Michael Parsons long-term deals. And the Cowboys lost a lot of depth in free agency. Dan Quinn pretty much turned the Washington Commanders into the Washington Cowboys. Although they weren't great starters, they were great depth pieces. And the Cowboys suffered through a lot of injuries last year. And they were not good against good teams. Anytime they played a good team, they lost. The only team with a winning record that they beat last year was the Seattle Seahawks. That was about it. So when I look at the Dallas Cowboys, I see a team that has a really strong chance of not making it to the playoffs, Luke G. And I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing these boys in the Shedeur Sanders sweepstakes, because think about it. And I know it sounds a little bit outlandish, but I want you to stick with me on this. Dak Prescott's going to be commanding $60 million a year when he comes to the table on a new deal. If you're Jerry Jones, I'm not about to dish out $60 million to a guy who only plays good in the regular season and then looks like a jabroni in the postseason when it actually matters. If you're playing for the Dallas Cowboys, it doesn't matter what you're doing in the regular season because you're defined by what you do in the postseason. So I'm not about to dish out that kind of money to Dak. Why not get an opportunity to reset with the rookie QB? And Jerry Jones is all about pop, is all about the pop. He's all about the flash. He's all about making headlines. What bigger storyline would there be next year by you drafting the son of Deion Sanders, a Cowboy great, somebody who is expected to be the number one pick in next year's draft? I think he's the number one quarterback in college football right now, just based off how well he's able to decipher and read defenses. So I think this year for Dallas, they missed the playoffs. They reset completely. They clean house with McCarthy. They part ways with Dak Prescott. And Deion Sanders and them already said they got no problem of pulling a power move to go to the team that they want to go to. So if they want to go to the Dallas Cowboys, I'm pretty sure Jerry Jones and Deion can arrange for that to happen. What's your thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys going into this year? Because I don't see them being a playoff team, and I think it probably would be better if they just go ahead and just tank for Shedeur Sanders.
Well, first of all, I think tanking for Shedeur Sanders is ludicrous. He ain't gonna be what people think he is. I'm sorry. It's too many inconsistencies and stuff with his game that I've noticed. And as much as I like what they got going on, the father, son, and everything like that, him going first overall would be a huge mistake. That's one. Two, the Dallas Cowboys always have been regular season warriors. In fact, I got friends who are Dallas Cowboys fans, and I tell them all the time, y'all really should be Lions fans. We're the same people. Y'all have moments where you're great in the regular season, come postseason, you out of there, which is really funny because guess what? The Detroit Lions have been to more NFC championship games than the Dallas Cowboys has in the last like 20-some years, right? So that right there in of itself is a scary stat to think of. But the Dallas Cowboys issues is bigger than this. And I'm gonna break it down like this. You like cars?
I love
You
cars.
you, you got a good. You love cars? Okay. You
I
go
ain't
into
got
the
one.
shop and the guy. I'm just telling you, your car coming. You gonna get you a nice car too. Trust me. I seen your growth. Your car coming. You gonna have a nice car. You gonna be in your car doing videos. You know what I'm saying? Letting it happen. So it's coming. But make no mistake, when that time comes, hit a brother. So I can tell you some of the tricks of the trade, so you don't get robbed at the dealership. That's another story. When looking at the Dallas Cowboys and referring to a car, the Dallas Cowboys is doing the following. They went to the shop and they was like, hey, you just need an oil change. And the owner insists, no, change the head gaskets. And no. We just want to do an oil change. Yeah, I know you do, but the timing belt ain't quite right. But all I need to do for you is an oil change. Listen, drop the gas tank because I'm thinking that it might be an issue with the gas tank, the head gaskets, and the timing belt. And they're sitting there going, oh, okay, if you want to do these things, cool, and we're going to bill you for it. Now, why does that have to do with the Dallas Cowboys? No matter how much they change, there's the guy that's still going to be there who is trying to create more of a legacy than he already needs to do. You're already a Hall of Fame owner, and you are the problem. You getting in the way. Y'all just simply need an oil change. How in the hell are you still playing general manager and just missing on picks? You're just missing. Even this year's draft, you took Cooper Beebe. Good pick. But then you go out and you draft this guy from Western Michigan, and he's very inconsistent. Nelaw, right? You look at what you're doing, and I'm trying to figure out why you're doing these things. Why? Thank God you wanted to trade with us. Although I think they won that trade, but that's not the point. But you're still making poor decisions. You're doing things that is not allowing for you to have success. You can't even get a real coach in there because they don't want to deal with your attitude. And how many good coaches could you have had from Sean Payton to Jim Harbaugh? Nobody wants to deal with you because you got a narcissistic attitude. Your fan bases are narcissists. They do things that they so entitled. They so entitled. Oh my God, we're the Dallas Cowboys. You ain't won nothing.
Ain't won nothing, Luigi. I was glad they got their ass smacked by the 49ers. So happy. Shut up.
We won 3 Super Bowls back in the 90s. Do you know what I did back in the? Do you know? Listen, watch this. I'm gonna show you. The last time they won a Super Bowl, you know what the most popular toy was?
What, Luigi?
A Super Soaker 200. Look it up. The last time they won a Super Soaker 200. By the time they got the Super Soaker 500, nobody was talking about the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, the last time they won a Super Bowl, Luigi, you gotta watch that thing on VHS.
That's what I'm saying. Like, bruh, just look it up. You're talking about a team who hasn't done nothing, and it's because your owner refuses to get out of everybody's way. I believe if he passed the team on to his son will hire a GM. You couldn't even get Troy Aikman to come back and be the GM because he said he don't really want to deal with Jerry. That's Jerry's show. He's not going to just be there for photo ops.
Yeah.
You can't even get one of your own legends to be a general manager there.
Yeah, man. Shoot,
because you want to run the show.
I'm pretty sure Dion would be down to coach his son, but it's like, man, even he probably wouldn't even want to do that if you had to work with Jerry. It's like people love Jerry, they just don't like working with him closely.
Exactly. And guess what? Don't be surprised if they try to be the next move. If they move on from McCarthy, they're gonna be like, hey, we want Dion.
Yeah, bro.
But you're still not gonna get you're not gonna get much out of Dion from there. You know why? Because Dion gonna tell you, listen, I'm going shopping for the groceries. I'm making the meal, I get the groceries. And Jerry gonna tell him, nah.
Mm-hmm.
I get the groceries, you make the meal.
And Deion gonna say, nah, I'm getting the groceries and I'm gonna make the meal too.
Exactly. And so now you have this moment where you can see that the biggest problem. So no matter what they do, they could tank. It could be Peyton Manning all over again. It could be Andrew Luck all over again. It could be Patrick Mahomes at number one. It doesn't matter. You gotta have somebody to coach him. Kobe Bryant, for all the years that he was doing outrageous things, he had very good coaching every single time. Go and look it up. And when he didn't have good coaching, guess what happened?
Team ain't do nothing.
They did not look good.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do a damn thing.
Everyone.
He said. Go ahead.
You can finish. You can finish.
No, I'm saying, but even he said that he wanted to go and get somebody who can push him above and beyond. And that's why he wanted Phil Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted the person who can get it done and push him above and beyond. See, not everybody can garner that respect. There are certain people that can walk in rooms and say certain things, and everybody can't do that. You see what I'm saying? And so, as long as Jerry Jones is there, Dallas Cowboys get comfortable. Dallas Cowboy fans get real comfortable. Because Jerry is your problem. Yeah, Jerry is your problem. When y'all was winning playoff games, they was questionable. Ain't it funny how every time a controversial play call is against the Lions, I'm gonna leave it alone though. You know, we for the first time in NFL history, we picking up flags against the Lions. Oh, yeah, he didn't report. Oh,
they making them calls. They putting that call in, Louis G.
Listen, I'm just saying the no pass interference call. Oh, what about the 2-point conversion? Because he didn't report. Everybody can see that he reported, but no.
Hey, Lou G, I find it very ironic that all transpired on Jimmy Johnson night, though.
All on Jimmy Johnson night. We can't have Jimmy Johnson night getting mad. I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. But what I'm trying to explain to people is,
too, Lou G. No, I understand exactly where you coming from. Yeah, I understand. But
the Dallas Cowboys, no matter what they do, until they owner get out of his own way, you're going to still be who you are. So keep rooting for him, keep rocking with him. But guess what? When you let Ezekiel Elliott go for Tony Pollard, you then let Tony Pollard go and brought Ezekiel Elliott back. It ain't gonna change your running back room. It ain't gonna change your running back room. You fail to realize. Yeah, because think about it. He failed to realize that Tony Pollard got off because Ezekiel Elliott got off.
Mm-hmm.
They look just like a 1-2. And when you look at the Lions right now, Montgomery gets off, Gibbs gets off. Jameer gets off, Montgomery gets off. And you have to have the two running backs. You got to have at least a good running back and a relief.
Majority of teams have that now.
You know what I mean?
You rarely find teams that just have one workhorse back. It may be only 3 running backs that are true workhorse that don't split carries anymore.
And again, just go back and look at the Browns. Remember when they had Chubb and Kareem Hunt? It was a freaking nightmare for people. I hit one, he run me over. The new guy come in, he run me over. Don't put nobody else in. Oh, we're going to put in a running back named James. He run me over. Like, come on. This is what happens. And so when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, I just tell their fan base, hey, keep the delusions, because as long as your owner is in the way, while y'all trying to get the oil change, he's trying to get other things done to the engine. That's perfectly fine.
Man.
You see, he can have the perfect driver for the car, but nobody wants to deal with the guy who's taking all the best parts of the car out.
Yep, nobody wants to drive his car. Like, just hire me, let me drive.
Nope.
Let's get us to where we need to go. Nope, he got to help drive to help you get to the destination too. He just can't let you get the credit for being the driver.
Nope. And that's why I always tell people, just ask yourself. Literally, just ask yourself. You know, what do you expect to come out of a situation where the owner is literally the problem? And as a Lion fan, I know all too well what that looks like.
We're gonna leave it.
I know what it looks like.
We're gonna leave it off here, Luke G. We appreciate you coming on. Everyone, make sure you subscribe. Check out our guy Luke G's Field Review. Type in Luke G's Field Review on YouTube. It will pop up. You can follow him on Instagram, Twitter. We'll have the links to his social and his channel down in the comment section down below. Before we let you go, Luke G, we appreciate you for coming on. Is there anything you want to let the people know?
Yeah, man. Listen, I remember when I found your first video, I was sitting up there and I was like, man, who this young dude out here? Got so much passion and love for this thing called sports. And I saw how immediately you was trying to not only produce a high quality product, but a product that's worthy of being listened to. And I watched as you continue to grow, build this thing up, get better and better and better. I watched how you became more unafraid to say the unpopular opinion that people didn't want to talk about or people didn't want to admit, and then they still didn't want to give you your flowers when you was right, but they love running to tell you when you wrong. So that tell me you was doing something right.
There's been
And then I
times me and
watched
you both been in the same vote. We both was telling people not Maddie Patricia wasn't it. We was hating though.
He ain't it.
We was hating.
I'm a hater. I'll be a hater. And so I watched you grow, and then I remember as I watched you grow, I watched you deal with some tragedies and some things that people in our community deal with too often. And I watched how you adapted and adjusted to those tragedies and that level of trauma. And now in a few short days, you're going to be graduating, something that not many people can say that they have done. Not many people can say that they have finished high school, let alone went to college and got a degree. And you're going to do that. And my biggest thing is I want people to know that this, of all the things that I've named, this is so minute to what he's getting ready to do. There's some big things I think coming from this young brother right here because I've been paying attention. I've been watching. I've been doing it. I don't even know how he found the time to do all this stuff. He on Instagram. He on Twitter talking to people. It's just too much going on. He got YouTube stuff. It's 1,300 posters coming out. He's editing his own videos. He's the producer, the CEO, the CFO, the COO, the director, and he's doing all of this work by himself. And he's constantly pumping it out while still maintaining his studies, and it's about to graduate. And I want people to know that any person that's like that deserves not only all of their support, but to keep their eyes peeled because it only gets bigger from here. So to you, sir, to you, from one king to another king, I can't appreciate you enough and tell you how proud I am of your growth and what I'm seeing you become. I can just tell you this much to the ladies listening to the show. You're going to want to get this one because this one right here is going to be a damn good father, a damn good husband, and somebody that when there's all the chips on the line, no matter how hard it get, you'll be able to count on him because he shows a level of resilience unlike no other. And so to you, I say, sir, congratulations. And again, man, just keep it going. Don't quit. Don't waver. Become the palm tree. I always tell people become palm trees because in as many hurricanes that go through Florida, them palm trees bend, but they never break. They always stand straight back on up. So to you, sir, I just salute you in all that you do. And if there was a Mount Rushmore for young kings, I put you right up there as one of the main people, my good brother. I really do appreciate what you do.
Man, I appreciate that, Luke G. Like, I appreciate you. You've been always like an OG to me. Like, I remember when I first lost my sister, man. Like, I was like, damn, man. You swiped up. You was like, life is 10% about what happens to you and 90% about how you respond. Like, ever since you told me that shit, like, I wake up and I live by that every single day. You feel me? Like, all throughout college, like, I failed the test. Like, I failed it. It's all about how I respond for the next one. You feel me? I got to pass the next one. You feel me? Because it comes fast. Like, life moves too fast to be stuck on, like, what happened to you because you always got to get back up. You feel me? Like, life is never going to let you sit back down and let you feel sorry for yourself or give you time to regather yourself. Like, you feel me? Like you said, like,
It's 10% about what happens to you, 90% about how you respond. You always going to go through life, you feel me? But it's always about how you respond to things, because how you respond to things is who you are. You feel me? What you do in times of adversity is what defines you for the rest of your life. And they say pressure you to burst pipes that makes diamonds. And, you know, that's why that quote that you gave to me that day years ago, I always remember it to this day. Shoot, I tell my homies it all the time. You feel me? Shoot. But yeah, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for always supporting me. And, you know, the advice that you giving me along the way. And yeah, man, like, shoot, I remember days when when I was rushing to get home from football practice, because I'm like, man, like, I'm trying to go live with Luke G and them boys, man. I'm trying to get on that round table. That boy's playing, man. Like, end this thing. Blow that whistle, man.
Yeah, the round table.
Yeah, man, but everybody.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's been a long journey, and like I said, if people, you never know how fast the time is going to pass. But what I always tell people is, never concern yourself with time. Time gonna pass anyway.
Heck yeah, but everybody, man, this is it for this episode of the podcast. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. One last time, subscribe to Luke G. Luke G, let the people know where they can find you at and what you have planned on the channel within the next couple of weeks and months.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I plan to drop a new schedule, new intros, but basically you can find me at Luke G's Fear Review. I talk all things Detroit Lions. It's an open forum where you can jump in and actually tell me you think I'm batshit crazy. You can tell me you think I'm not up to par. You can tell me I'm wrong. You can give me your opinion. It's all love. I'll even have moments where sometimes I let the subscribers come on and they run the show. Hey, what you want to talk about? Tell me what it is. And I'll let you do your thing. And, I do film study, obviously in July I'm gonna be a little bit slower. I got another kid on the way, so kudos to my wife for letting that oven cook. But thank you, appreciate it. But for the most part, man, I'm on Instagram at Phil G's and YouTube at Luke G's Fear Review. And like I said, come join me and talk your team. If if we play you that week and you want to come in and tell everybody why your team gonna stump the Lions out, let's talk about it.
Everyone subscribe to our guy Luke G's Film Review. We'll have the link to his channel in the social medias in the pinned comment and description down below. Make sure you also subscribe to the JT Sports Podcast. We're not just a YouTube channel, we are a podcast. You can find this episode and all our other ones in audio format on Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon. Wherever you get your podcast from, the JT Sports Podcast is available. Give us a follow on our social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram at JT_, on X at JT_. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys shortly with another episode of the JT Sports Podcast.